All right, as you can see, we have our Christmas tree up. What do you guys think? Is it fake or real? You can really
Obviously,
tell in the video.
obviously the Christmas version of our series here on. Oh yeah, there's a good shot.
It is fake. We just bought it this year. It was a financial investment because Christmas trees, real ones, are expensive, and apparently my 6-year-old daughter doesn't like cleaning up the needles.
Yeah.
It probably has something to do with her strengths, right?
So we just put this. Yeah. So we just put this Christmas tree up like a couple days ago, and putting a Christmas tree up as a family can be a challenge because of the contrasting ways that everyone thinks it should be done. Which brings us kind of to today's topic, which is StrengthsFinder as a means to understand communication methods within a relationship in a better way. So it kind of started a while back when Heidi
Maybe
and I,
like 3 years ago, 4 years,
at
3 years ago.
least, yeah, we were basically introduced to a wonderful woman who was a coach in the StrengthsFinder
Emily Brumman.
modality. Emily, she's awesome. We love her. And we decided to do some coaching together as a couple.
So we took an assessment. It's Strengths Finder. It's Clifton Strengths Finder. You can either buy the book or you can find a coach. Brian's actually technically a coach, and they can get you a code. But you find out all of yours. There's a magnet on the top of this. All of your strengths. There are 34 of them,
Yep.
and they're in 4 different categories: executing strengths, influencing, relationship building, or strategic thinking.
So you basically take an assessment, like a 45-minute test, and it comes up with your strengths ranked basically from top to bottom. There, you could think of them more closely as your natural talents. The things that come out most naturally are the ones on top, and that's basically who you are. So for us in our relationship, understanding each other's assessment was way more important than understanding our own. We kind of know how we tick. It's nice to learn a little bit about that, but it's super important to learn how your partner ticks and why they do things the way they do. And for us, it gave us a vocabulary, a language to be able to relate to each other. Any examples of that?
Well, I would say, so Brian is an ideator. He likes to think and dream, and I have a lot of executing skills. I like to know exactly how it's going to get done and start getting into action. So when
And
he,
get it done.
yeah,
Actually finish it.
yes, I
I'm about starting, but I'm not necessarily about finishing.
I was going to say I'm relentless, but that pulls in a whole nother assessment like this, and that's not what we're talking about. So anyway, when he would try to ideate, I'd be like, no, that doesn't work. We're not going to give that, as Emily would say, we're not going to give that idea legs. So why are we even talking about it? And so I've realized that sometimes Brian just wants to ideate, and actually, it's really helped me dream and ideate as well to give him that space. And so it gave him that vocabulary to be like, okay, I just need to ideate right now. And it's allowed me that vocabulary too. Or another example is I have high intellections, so I need quiet time. I have a massive ball of proverbial spaghetti in my head, and it needs to be smooth and straightened out. Otherwise I go crazy. So I can say, Brian, I really need some intellection time. I need to get away and be by myself and just regroup and meditate and do my thing.
And I might not have understood what that meant before, but until we unraveled this and understood it better, because intellection maybe isn't something that I relate to personally, but once I understood what it was and understood how important it was for her, then that understanding was gained and I had a language for it and it made sense to me.
And I also think that learning this, because it gives you the vocabulary, it also helps you realize that you and your partner, anyone that you're working with in any type of relationship, has a different lens. They are viewing a situation from different strengths and a totally different lens. And so it's realizing that your lens is not the right lens, it's just different, and that you need to be understanding and open to other people's perspectives.
I think that's a good way to put it, is that it's about the differences in perspective and understanding that, like, where the other person's coming from. Some people might be prone to viewing the past as their barometer for what to do next or into the future, and others like don't even like that doesn't even come into play for them. They're always forward thinking and never look back. And you need to understand that about each other, so that when one of you is like thinking through a plan, you understand how the brain is working a little bit better.
Yeah. I was just thinking that it would be fun to hear in the comments below what not only your strengths are if you know them, but also what your partners are. Like, we have a couple friends who both have command as number one. So it's very interesting to think about how they navigate their relationship because they both have command. So if you know yours, we'd love to see them below. Otherwise, if you want, to take it, you can Google it, buy the book, or ask Brian and he can help you.
And we all know that communication is like the beginning, the middle, and the end of almost everything, right? Like, all problems are usually a result of poor communication. All solutions are usually need to be arrived by good communication. So, like, we all know that, right? Communication is everything. So this was a tool that we used to help our communication with each other. When we understood each other better, we were able to communicate with each other at a higher level of understanding, which has really elevated our relationship. It was just one of the investments that we made when we knew we want our relationship to be better. Even if we were like, if we could say that we're a 10 out of 10 in our relationship, but on a new kind of scale, we're only a 6. Well, how do we get to a 10 now? It was just one more thing that we put into place to really enhance what we had together.
I think it allowed us to mitigate a lot of the communication problems between us so that we could then tackle bigger problems as a unit.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I think when when so many of your problems are that you don't know how to communicate with your partner, how are you supposed to tackle the problems outside of the two of you when you can't even resolve this?
So now we know things like, okay, Brian might be able to come up with the big idea. Heidi's going to be probably more suited to execute it and to make it happen. So we know how to work together a little bit better, and we aren't trying to force the other into what is unnatural for them, because it usually doesn't result in as productive of a outcome. So it's just been really helpful in our relationship, so much so that I went out and became a StrengthsFinder certified coach myself, because I saw how much it helped us, and having gone through a coaching experience helped us. You often need that third party to walk you through something, especially when you're with your spouse or your partner, because it's that third party is kind of that unbiased perspective that can talk to both of you.
Mediator.
Really, without you getting in the way of each other. So it's been super helpful for us in our relationship.
All right, so that's strengths in a nutshell, and then the next couple days we'll dive a little bit deeper into kind of more specific examples from each of our ends.